Well, thanks for joining me for this Tuesday edition of TouchPoint with South Point. I'm Pastor Brian, one of the teaching pastors here at South Point Church. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and look in the description above for all the passages that we can choose from today. I happen to pick Acts chapter 27 through 28. Those are the last two chapters of Acts, and they're pretty important. Much of the suffering that Paul endured actually happens in these two chapters. The shipwrecks that he spoke of, the abandonment at sea that he spoke of, the deadly snake bite that happened there. The going without food and everything happened there. It's a big deal chapter. Now I'm going to make a statement about those chapters, and just hear me out before you might dismiss me. And I'm going to say that Paul pretty much brought all of those things on himself. Oh, come on, Pastor. How did Paul bring those things on himself? Doesn't make any sense. He brought them on himself because Paul understood God's will, and he chose to do it no matter what it meant. And that's what this meant. In the story, if you were to read it, which I encourage you to do, read chapter 27 and 28. See, he was on trial right there. He was standing before Festus. And after they heard everything he had to say, they pretty much said, we have nothing to hold this guy on. We can totally let him go. And they were going to let him go, but Paul said, knowing that God wanted him to go see Caesar and go to Rome, Paul said, no, wait. I appeal to Caesar. Send me there. They're like, well, we'll let you go? No, I'll stay captive. I want to go see Caesar, because he knew God's will. And in doing that, he brought those things on himself. Listen, today, the question falls to us. What are we willing to do to follow God? Are we willing to do the stuff? Well, we have choices to make. The first thing we have to ensure is that, number one, we're close enough to the Lord that we can actually hear him clearly, so we understand what his will is. We could hear it clearly and understand it. Second thing we need to do is be willing to go without, to endure the things that might be ramifications of following God's will. So the choice is totally ours. The choice was Paul's. Paul could have been let go, but he chose not to. You and I can choose to really, to be honest, we can have just about anything we want. We can work hard, we can be responsible, we can raise our families well, we can do all those things and pretty much nothing else. And we can have all the stuff that we want, all the stuff that makes us comfortable and makes things good, if we choose nothing else. But we can also choose to follow Jesus, whatever that means, whatever the ramifications are. We could choose to follow him. And in some cases, it means that we will have to go without. We will have some lack. There might be some trauma that we'll have to endure. There'll be certain things that he calls us to that we'll go so we can follow him. So the question I leave with you and me, what do you want? Paul wanted Jesus really bad, so much so it didn't matter to him. And I want to tell you, as we sit here now today on Tuesday, I want Jesus really bad, and I sure would like to say, it doesn't matter what the ramifications are, I want him that bad. And what do you want? It's a good thing to think about, a good thing to consider. Why don't you and the Lord maybe go away later and talk about that? Because those are life-changing things. Let me read something to you out of Matthew chapter 16. It's a hard-hitting passage, and it says this: whosoever wants to be my disciples must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. That's what Paul did, and it meant denying himself. For whoever wants to save their lives will lose them, but whoever loses their lives for my sake, they'll find life. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world and to lose their own soul? So friends, what do you want? You can have whatever you want, but consider wanting Jesus, his life, his blessing, all that he comes, because you and I are going to go see him really soon. And when we do, I really want to be able to say with a clean conscience, I followed you as best I could. And I want to hear him say, that was awesome, dude. I loved it. I want to hear that, and not, boy, we sure had things for you, and you could have chosen more of me. So what are you going to choose? Go find him today. Ask him. Talk about it. So hey, we love you. You're doing good. Have a great week, and we'll catch up with you on Sunday.